now we can get into the meat and potatoes of today's show for you good folks out there. So yeah, we're gonna now segue into the Bolton's Bets preseason top 25. Chris, you got a nice logo there, sir.
Hey, we try to do what we can here on the breakdown sportscast. So
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, man. The Bolton's Bets preseason top 25. Before we delve into it, Chris, talk about the journey of you getting this list together, because man, you were you couldn't wait to delve into talking about this with me.
Yeah, brother, it wasn't easy. There, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's like 45 teams that I think nationally that if you have, you know, one of those 45 in your top 25, I'm not mad at you. That's how narrow, how thin the margins are and the differences between these teams, I think, this season. There's no clear cut runaway preseason favorite. And anybody, depending on how the roll of the dice play out this year, can win their conference. And I think it's just that even across the board. So I'm ready to get into it, but it wasn't easy. I think, there's about, like I said, 40, 45 teams that could be in the top 25 this year. And we might see a rotation of those teams in the top 25 as the season plays out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, look, I looked at the list. We're gonna go over it, folks. Yeah, there was a lot of teams in here that I wasn't looking forward to seeing that high up, or even in there at all. There were some teams in there. I'm like, oh wow, I don't see them. I don't see them at all. But I wonder why. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what's going on in Chris's head. So
Yeah.
so
Hey,
yeah.
so here we are. So you want to go ahead and get into it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me go ahead for the good folks at home watching on the YouTube. Let's go ahead to the first slide. So we're gonna start off at 25, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna work our way up to number one. So here it is right here. I'm gonna start off 25 up to 21. 25, Chris. Kansas State.
Yep. 25, Kansas State. With Avery Johnson's back. Him, Coach Kleiman. They're a staple in the conference in the Big 12. They did lose some pieces, had a little bit of a down year. I think it's really tight. The margins are very tight in the Big 12, but I think, when you have someone as talented as Avery Johnson running the offense and coming back, I expect him to take another step up, and I think, got to have them in the 25.
Nice. So yeah, have Kansas State at 25. We'll go to the 24. We have Texas Tech, the Red Raiders.
Yep. Texas Tech at 24, the Red Raiders. Look, man, we had a portal class that they had this offseason. Top 3 portal class in the nation. Number 2 in a lot of people's books, right behind LSU. Just brought in a plethora of blue chip guys, especially on defense. That defense is going to be stout. It's going to be tough. People just don't understand that Texas Tech is for real. I know we haven't said that in a minute. We ain't seen Crabtree walk through them doors in a minute. But trust me, Texas Tech ain't going to be no joke this season. So I like what they've done this offseason. A total rebuild immediately. You also keep Micah Hudson, your 5-star wide receiver recruit. He came back. So you bring back your starting quarterback. The things are lining up for Texas Tech to possibly have a big year.
Yeah, look, they found out. Oh, we can spend tons of money. We can do that. Wait, and then they proceeded to go into their safe filled with just money, and just handed it out to players and said, "Hey,
You,
go
you,
Red Raiders."
hey, come on, yeah, you want to come here and play? We got you some money too. So yeah, they definitely throwing the bag around at
Hey, throwing it
Texas Tech.
around, throwing around like they throw around those tortillas at the
The tortillas.
games. Oh man, that's a great tradition right there. I don't know what it's like to be a Red Raider, but if we got some Red Raiders fans watching the show, definitely be
Yeah,
excited this
yeah.
season.
So yeah, we got Tech there.
Hmm.
Indiana at 23,
Yeah.
South Carolina at 22,
Hmm.
and USC at 21 to wrap up the the bottom half of the bottom fifth of the top 25.
Okay.
So
I thought Auburn was
oh
at 21.
yes, I'm sorry, I looking at the wrong one. Let's see here. I was looking at the wrong graph.
No, it's all right.
Um,
Hugh
South
Freeze
Carolina.
almost got mad at you. That's all.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Hugh. But Auburn has, when you look at their roster, they've been recruiting very well. Um, they also have hit the portal well. You bring in Singleton to go along with Cam Coleman.
Hmm.
Um, you got quote unquote your guy at QB with Jackson Arnold.
Yep.
So they should have a big year. But so yeah, we'll see how things play out with that. And I know you probably got some questions about South Carolina being right there at 22 behind Auburn.
I do a little bit just because South Carolina's season last year. I mean, how can you knock them for what they did? Yeah, they lost to Illinois. We'll get to Illinois a little bit later. But I'm really high on the
Hmm.
South Carolina team. Yeah, I know that there's some people. I've listened to some people, Chris. They're not as high on South Carolina. Don't know why. Don't care. I think what Shane Beamer did last season is definitely going to pay dividends for this season. I think he has created a culture over there in Columbia that is definitely contagious. I think this team has what it takes to break that ceiling in the SEC and compete for a potential
Yeah.
berth in the SEC championship. I think their defense is stout. I think having Lenore Sellers there another year to excel at the quarterback position is going to pay dividends. And yeah, I think this team has what it takes to be one of the best teams in the SEC.
Yeah, they are talented. They lost a lot on that D line. That's so that plays a part. So we're curious to see how they replace some of those guys. Of course, I mean you do bring back Stewart, so I
Hmm.
mean that helps a lot.
That's a start.
You would have probably it's a great start. So that might make the other guy's job easier when you got a scheme for him. But I know Lenoris is back, but this is my question. Who is he throwing the ball to? I know Nick Harbor was a highly touted recruit,
Hmm.
track star, athlete. Can he give me more than the go ball? I need to see more from this wide receiver room. And I know people in Columbia are going to be like, hey, but it's just fine. But I just need to see more before I boost them up more. So when you have the talent like you got Stewart, you got Sellers, you will be in the top 25.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to hold. I got some questions. That's all. I just got some questions.
Yeah, I think it's great to have questions with this South Carolina squad. They're not perfect, but they definitely have something that a lot of other teams want, and that's impact players. And all they have to do is take those impact players and make sure that they're as successful as they possibly can be. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with South Carolina this season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then keeping things rolling. At 20,
All right.
we got Miami. 19 Ole Miss, 18 Arizona State, 17 Michigan, 16 Texas A&M. So it's a crop of teams with a lot of talent, but there are question marks around those teams. Miami, you do have Carson Beck, but you kind of pissed away an elite one-on-one offense last season. It's going to be hard to kind of repeat that same offense this year. So I do think Miami has talent, but can they repeat what they did last year? And let's just be real, Corey. People around football circles do question the in-game and on-the-field coaching of this Miami staff. So there are some questions about that. So I do want to see if we can get those questions answered.
Yeah, no, you're right, Chris. I was talking particularly to my brother about just Miami this season, and I'll say it right now. I think that this season is going to be one of the most important seasons that Mario Cristobal is ever going to have during his time there at Miami. You get close in the way that you did last season with Cam Ward, and Cam Ward, was a great quarterback everywhere that he went. He got to Miami after serving his time at Wazoo, Washington State, and he became a household name at Miami. Almost won a Heisman had it not been for Travis Hunter. And then you literally just rolled down the hill, stumbling, fumbling. You lose that game against Georgia Tech. You lose that bowl game. Cam Ward, plays the half and see you later. It definitely left a bitter taste in a lot of Miami fans' taste buds. It's you want to see improvement this year, and I think Mario Cristobal, he's definitely going to have to show that with Carson Beck this season. They're gonna have to have all hands on deck with being as competitive in the ACC as they possibly can. Because hey, you slip up and you don't make 12-team college football playoff, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Then you have Ole Miss, Austin Simmons. I'm a believer. I know Ole Miss has been a transfer portal team, but plug and play situation that Lane Kiffin has shown that he has the infrastructure in place for Ole Miss to compete. I'm a believer in Austin Simmons, so I have them in the mix. Arizona State, Sam Levitt, we know what he comes to do. You lose Cam Scatterbo, but you bring back your top receiver, you bring back your top QB, you got your head coach back. I think the infrastructure is in place for Arizona State to succeed. Michigan, you won games somehow with trash, anemic quarterback play last year, beating Ohio State and Alabama. That's a flex. You bring in Bryce Underwood. I still have questions about the offense. How good will this team be? But I think that the pieces are in place for Michigan to compete and mess around and maybe even win the Big Ten if everything goes right. And then Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, Le'Veon Moss, Ruben Owens. You bring in Concepcion at wide receiver to go along with the team with Coach Elko, and you know what the defense is going to do. A&M's a sneaky team. We say this every year, but hey, they really are. They got some players, so that's why I got them right there at 16. So we'll see how it all unfolds.
Yes, we will. Yeah, A&M. It's definitely becoming one of those teams now that, look, they're definitely like, I dare you to count us out. I dare you. I double dare you, college football guys, to count us out. We will break that wall down every single time now. And look,
they can go 7-5, or they could be 10-2, Corey.
Yeah, they definitely can. And look, I'm done with counting out A&M. I think they now have a guy there in Elko that's going to challenge this team to be better than what a lot of people expect. and
Hmm.
definitely show up at times where people least expect it. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what Mike Elko has cooking over there in College Station this season.
Yes, sir. And then let's keeping things going to the next crop, the next group. 15 Tennessee. And I know this group. This is where it's going to raise a few people eyebrows. We're going to surprise a few folks with this crop. 15 Tennessee, 14 the Baylor Bears, 13 Georgia Tech, number 12 Illinois, and number 11 the Georgia Bulldogs.
Interesting.
That um, it is extremely interesting. So the thought process behind it, watching Tennessee last year, I'm gonna be honest, Nico missed a lot of plays in SEC play, and that team still found ways to win games. I think Joey just has to be average and just make the right plays. And I think Tennessee, even though they lost a good bit of guys, they continue to be a team that recruits well in the top 20 the last 4 years. They have the talent in place to replace guys. And with the system that they run, I'm not counting Tennessee out. I think Tennessee also has a schedule that lines up for them to also be successful this year. So I'm not counting Tennessee out. Um, Baylor at 14. Yes, I know it's going to surprise a lot of people, but I'm gonna tell y'all like this: Sawyer Robertson, along with Bryson Washington, is the best quarterback running back duo in the Big 12. Sawyer Robertson is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Bryson Washington had a breakout season as a freshman running back. Just this crazy numbers. He's a dog, and Baylor brings back the core of their offensive line. It's a sneaky team. It almost it's kind of one of those teams that gives you a feel for like how Mississippi State was looked at in the Mullen era with when Mississippi State broke out, and they bring back a lot of good pieces. People didn't. You weren't just if you weren't in the know, then you like, hmm. They were solid last year, but will they be that good? I think they will be that good. I think they're going to win the conference. So I'm a big fan of Baylor and what they bring back. So look out for the Bears.
Yeah. I think what Sawyer Robinson brings to the table for Baylor is definitely works for them. And look, I mean, we talked about Sawyer on this show, Chris. We remember his time during being at Mississippi State, and what
Hmm.
we had hoped um,
Hmm.
he would bring to the table there for the Bulldogs. He was an exceptional player in high school, in the state of Texas, and now it's really paying off now. Now that he's over there in Waco, so yeah, I think this team is definitely going to be fun to watch. I think Baylor is going to have their. I'm going to say Baylor's going to have their BYU moment that BYU had last season. I think this
Hmm.
team has the opportunity to be very talented, and as long as they can win the games that they need to win, I think that they'll be they'll definitely be in the discussion of the 12 team playoff by the time we head towards November, December.
Yep. And then you look at Georgia Tech. Surprise everybody! Georgia Tech got them in the top 15. Look, I'm a key believer. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid that he is making, and I think they bring back Haynes King. The infrastructure is there for this team to continue building on what they did last season. And do not be surprised, people, if Georgia Tech messes around and kicks down the door, and if they find themselves in the college football playoff this year, they are a playoff dark horse, and they could very easily they can mess around and win the ACC. So I know everybody wants to just pencil in Clemson. You might have Miami in there. You might have Louisville. You might have SMU. Um, I think Tech is a team to look out for. Same thing with Illinois. Everybody talks about your Ohio States and your Michigans and Penn State and everything. Illinois brings back their starting QB. And so I think that this season, Corey, we talked about leading up to it, it's so key to bring back your starting quarterback and everything. And I think those teams bring back starters and have everything in place for them to succeed despite not having the flashy name to their programs.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's interesting in talking about a team like Georgia Tech. That, of course, like you said, Chris, they're not a flashy team. They're not a household team that everyone's like, ah, rah rah. Georgia Tech, yeah, every year. Um, I just saw a quote from head coach Brent Key down there in Atlanta, where he said Georgia Tech isn't nowhere close to playing a football game yet. I don't know if that's messing around with the media down there or what right now, but it's interesting that he did say that. Knowing what we've seen from Georgia Tech and what we know that they can be capable of, I won't. All I'll say is this: I won't go out and say Georgia Tech isn't going to have the same level of success that they had last season. I'm going to be watching Georgia Tech a lot this season just because they can slip up and make you pay, just like I think
For sure.
Illinois can. I think Illinois is. I think that this year Illinois is this year's version of Indiana. Indiana came out of nowhere and really shocked some people. So I think with Illinois, I think they have something special there this season.
Yep. Yes, sir. And then, Georgia at 11. I mean, I know a lot of people are probably shocked, but new QB. I know the talent's there. Kirby Smart's there. I just have a lot of questions. I have questions about the Bulldogs, and I'm a Bulldogs fan. I'm a Georgia fan, Corey, but I just have questions about this team. So, out of respect to the talent that's there, they are still a top 12 team in my estimation right now. But I'm curious to see how the season plays out and see if those questions do get answered for the Dogs.
Absolutely.
Going into the top 10, Oklahoma at 10, the Oregon Ducks at 9, Florida Gators at 8, Notre Dame at 7, and the Alabama Crimson Tide at 6. So
interesting.
Yeah, a lot of Florida, Oklahoma might surprise people. I know their schedules they have
brutal
schedules. But the teams themselves are great teams, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody can survive the schedules, I think they can. Now, will they? We will see. They have a chance. Can DJ Lagway stay healthy? We'll see. If he does, Florida has a chance to win national championship. Truthfully, honestly, but we'll see how everything plays out going forward in the season.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest topic going on down there in Gainesville, Chris. I know you've heard it all around your neck of the woods. Can DJ Lagway stay healthy? Exceptional quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks, one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the country today in DJ Lagway. Can he stay healthy? My hope is that he can. I think if he can, I think Florida can have a great season. They just got to put everything together in order to be as successful as they possibly can. So, we'll definitely see what the Florida Gators have cooking up. Looking at the chat right now, Mr. Chance Rawls says "Roll Tide" in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He loves Alabama. That's his boys. So Bama, Bama got a talented roster too. So we'll see what Alabama can do. The biggest question mark for them is QB play. So, but
Right.
when you look at that roster, though, you can't deny that roster.
No.
Then wrapping up the top five at Ohio State, 4 Clemson, 3 Penn State, 2 Texas, and 1 LSU. Just being honest with you, Corey, I mean, that whole top 10, you can have that mix any kind of way you want to, and I would understand it.
Look, as I was getting all of the material for the show today, Chris, I looked at the top 5 and I was like, man, this anybody can take this number 1 spot. Okay, anyone can do it. So I think that this is going to be a very interesting top 5 that we're looking at right now. These teams, they got a lot to prove. Look, we've heard Dabo Swinney talk about this season and what he's done to get them here. I'm loving what I see from Cade Klubnik. I think he's going to do it exceptionally well this season. Got to play the games though. Ohio State, we talked about earlier on the show that Julian Sayin is now the number 1 quarterback. He's now QB1 over there in Columbus. And look, we can go all day. We can have a whole episode talking about Arch Manning at Texas. I mean,
right.
This is going to be a very, very interesting season for Steve Sarkisian, as he said himself. This is his guys. This is his team that he's inherited, or that he's cultivated, I should say. They want to see this through in Austin. They want to make it to that national championship this year. We'll see what happens. They got a bevy of heavyweights on their schedule as well. So we'll see what happens with Texas. And like I mentioned, Penn State number 3. We'll see what James Franklin can do this year. Having Drew Allard back is great. We'll see what happens with Penn State this season. And number 1, the LSU Tigers down there in Baton Rouge, looking to really showcase all of those weapons that they have on the offensive side of the football, Chris. So, hey, Brian Kelly, he definitely wants to show and improve this season.
He got the horses over there.
Yeah,
they got
the
horses over there. So we'll see, man, for sure. So I'm ready for the season. It's going to be a fun one.
Yes, sir. I think this is going to be a fun season indeed. I can't wait to see what happens with all of these teams. Some honorable mentions, Chris, before we wrap up today's show. What are some of your honorable mentions? Some people that you had left out.
Yeah, USC, SMU, BYU, your Utahs, teams like that were right there and in the mix.
Nice.